let's shift east to a team that has title aspirations, that many people pick to win the title, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. And I want to bring this up, people, because, and I'm going to frame this around something Jarod talked about in his podcast, the 7 Footers podcast, okay? Jarod made the point, and I talked about at the top of the show, that the Brooklyn Nets are no longer title contenders, all right? This is not a hot take, okay? We don't do that here. This is not what we're doing.
Nah.
Jarod has some nuance to this in what he's going to say, and I thought on this platform he should also talk about it too. So you talked about it with your co-host, Jenna Lemoncelli, our good friend, about why the Nets are no longer title contenders, and you have a lot of concerns about what you've seen, whether it's been injuries, the play of James Harden. Please talk about why you, as a person who were very high on the Nets, are no longer high on them anymore.
First, I want to give them credit. Defensively, that seems to be their identity now. Through 20 games, they are a top 11 defense in adjusted defensive rating. That's, for a team that was 26th last year in adjusted defensive rating, that's pretty good, okay? But their struggle is this team was constructed to be an offensive juggernaut. When you have Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving operating at the peak of their powers, that is a nightmare for any defense. I don't care if you're the most elite defense of all time. The friggin' 80 bad boy Pistons, the Celtics, I don't care. Whoever you want to throw out there. When you have those three supernovas playing at peak level, you got problems because they are offensive. They're offensive systems unto themselves, the three of them. And that creates mismatches everywhere you look. Well, they don't have three of those guys operating at the peak of their powers. Vaccine mandates, Kyrie Irving's got his stance dug in. He's not there. James Harden, he played well last night against the Knicks, but that was his first good game in a long time, right? Since last season. This team was constructed for the three of them to be at their peak because what that did was that they are force multipliers. That means that the complementary pieces around them, your Blake Griffins, your Nick Claxtons, your Patty Mills, Joe Harris's, Bruce Browns, these type of people, their game gets elevated because of how excellent those three are. Well, when those three are not excellent, it now puts more burden and stress on those other complementary pieces. And they're not as good. There's a reason why those guys aren't all NBA and all those things, right? You have one player playing at MVP level. That's Kevin Durant. Now, James Harden played like an MVP last night. If he can play like that the rest of the season and KD continues to play his MVP level, then I will change my mind. But until that happens consistently, no, they're not good enough. And Steve Nash has said it. They've all said it. If you right now, they know it. They're not good enough. We saw what happens. They had the Suns on the second night of a back-to-back and lost at home.
And that game it was close score at the end, but it wasn't really close.
Warriors came in, blitzed them in the third quarter. Yep. Waxed, right? I mean, so when you see them against the elite teams, it's like, ooh, you're not quite there. And again, that is because all three of your force multipliers aren't there playing well. And when you only have one, you can box in one KD, triangle into him because you're like, these other four dudes, I ain't worried about them, right? And that's the reality. So they're going to have to get Harden playing up to his level. If he does that, it releases some of the burden on KD, right? Now you're talking. Now their margin will still be slimmer, right? Because they don't have Kyrie. Because now if you add peak Kyrie, well, then it's like, because what are you doing? You're not doubling anywhere. Three of them on the floor, and you put Harris and another. What are you going to do? Right? Who are you helping off of? Nobody. Right? You got to just pray with one-on-one defense.